Greetings, everyone. How are you doing today? It's Thursday on the plantation. This thing that we call Earth, are we really, traversing a round spherical planet? Are we on a dome? Are we on a flat Earth? What are we doing? Let me set my water down. Is it apparent to you? I'm going to wait and see if we have a few people that want to join on today. I'd like to be there to hold your hand for you. I'd like to be a wise elder that you feel that you can trust. I'd like to impart knowledge and wisdom that is found to be tried and true. I'd like to greet you with openness and honesty and integrity. I'd like to walk and move with compassion. I never intended to be a SoulJah, S-O-U-L or S-O-L-J-A-H. I'm not here to push religion or politics, medications or industries on you. I'm here to open your eyes. The truth is what will set you free. And it's going to hurt as you open your eyes. As you open your eyes over and over repeatedly in life, and you find out how truly asleep you are and were as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult, as a 30-something, a 40-something, a 50-something, and on and on and on. You're going to look back and reflect. Think about your life in retrospect, and you're going to say, oh my gosh, I didn't know what the hell was going on. Turn the light on here. Might make it a little bit better. I think it does. So you're going to think in retrospect, what in the heck is going on? Is it apparent? Meaning, is it crystal clear? Can you see that it's apparent? Beyond all illusion, the Maya, the illusion, that you are in fact being utilized. And that your brothers and sisters on the plantation are participating unknowingly and unwittingly to condemn you to a life of slavery, so that you will continue to perform on the plantation in many, many ways, which are detrimental to yourself. So this is why a mother like myself worked so hard, so diligently to protect my 20-year-old son who was given opiates, who had all of the setup factors, having been to school, having had the injections, having had the food system, having had the beliefs installed so he would be funneled into the system. And as my beautiful elder sister, Emma, related with me a couple years back, he became an instrument, an individual fashioned against me. Because here I was now in my 40s and then 50s, I'm 59 now. And I could say, you don't want to eat that food. Oh, it's not a big deal. I don't have to eat ground up vegetables. Your green smoothies taste horrible. I said, well, actually, I took the time to cut up a whole pineapple and put some greens in there, some spinach. It's absolutely amazing. It's the color green because of the spinach, but it's got the sweetness of the pineapple. I don't need a government which has come to be in power, that have come to be much like, on fire, much to be, he's doing his own bathing, much to be like a parent. I don't need a parent at age 59. What I need is not government or parenting. I don't need to be led by the nose. What I need is not to be caught hook, line, and sinker. What I need is not to be baited and funneled. So I don't need all of your be a successful health coach. We're going to show you how to really get lots and lots of clients in. Do you want to stage your YouTube videos so you're really suave and you look great and people go, whoa, I want to be like that? Or do you want to be real? And I said, I want to be real. I want to be real. I would have been an extremely young, youthful appearing, soft-spoken all the time, never needing to refer to herself as a SoulJah. If I would have just been allowed to live a natural life without being parented by a predatory system. Let me explain. So you can also get it from the heart. You are God. Of course you are. My son knew this. My son knew about his constitution, so he wore a hat which other people thought, ooh, what are you doing that? Because he knew better, because the seeds were planted with love. You know, when you do African dance and you're doing all these movements and you're, making these movements in African dance, they symbolize the movements of life, the planting of seeds and the carrying of the babies and the needing to prepare for war. So be it. Okay. I couldn't just sit back and not come on YouTube. When all around me is talk and yakking about being safe and being protected, well, I'm in the hospital and I've got this and I've got that, and I'm talking with lots and lots of people, so please don't feel like I'm making a ridicule out of you if you find yourself in one of my examples, because it's the whole aspect of privacy and even the bringing on of HIPAA, which is causing you pain. So if I got to go to the restroom, if I got to go to the bathroom, I'm going to go walking over here and I'm going to close the door. And most people that come in my home are going to wonder why they can't lock the door to go to the bathroom. And I said, well, it's just me in here. I wasn't going to bust in and, do anything to you. But the mentality now expects cameras and locks and everything else. Privacy is hurting you. It's the expectation that you've built inside of yourself. Your parents built it and your grandparents built it. And many ancestors long, long, long before them built the expectation that you walk into the religious official, you sit down at the confessional booth, and you confess your symptoms. And what those people did with that oftentimes was not really truly very savory. And you did the same thing. Don't you ever wonder if DARPA has these little tiny gnats that just pop up out of nowhere to distract you and to make you look like an idiot or make you feel like an idiot? Like they just pop up out of nowhere. It's pretty interesting. But thank you, DARPA. So anyway, you go and you go into the doctor's office, and again, you close the door and you sit down, and the doctor goes, so what are you here for today? And now they face the computer with their fingers on the keyboards. What are you here for today? Well, you just took my fucking vital signs. Well, no, you didn't. You're too good for that. Your nurse practitioners and your CNA people just took my temperature, my blood pressure, and my oxygen, the oximeter. What do you do? Well, I don't know. I didn't really look at that. I didn't see anything abnormal. You didn't see anything abnormal, doctor? My temperature was 96.5 during the middle of the day. You didn't see anything abnormal? They have not made connections. So by you going in and keeping your medical status private, But yet you go out there and you tell everybody about your diagnosis code, right? I've got lupus. I've got RA. My mother, I just feel for her. She's got RA and lupus and ankylosing spondylitis. Do you ever notice the poses and the postures that we take while we're talking about privacy and medical? This one in particular, I call it the cuffed pose, okay? We've got this one, the doubting Thomas, the angry. We've got this one, right? You wouldn't be in a weakened state but for the fact of this apparent, this parent, this parentification, this overlording, landlording, industrial farming plantation. You wouldn't be in this situation. Now, this video that I'm doing, it's not really good for business, so to speak, but we're sitting on the precipice of some major events happening. Lots of people are being censored. Lots of people are being fact-checked by who? People that I wouldn't necessarily trust. The people that run some of these platforms are they themselves pale, pasty, and in a chronic state of disease. And they don't know what to do about it. So, we live a life confessing our sins, confessing our symptoms, doing what we do in private with our loved ones when the doors are closed. They get to see a different side of us than the face we put on when we live stream, when we YouTube. It's time that we started having the elders, the wise elders, of which there's only a handful that are no longer on drugs, which most of you have become accustomed to calling medicine. So when someone tells me I need to take my anxiety medicine, I need to take my depression medicine, I'm not making fun of you. What I'm telling you is that there's a difference between medicine and medication. The medication is there for you to use temporarily, and I'm not telling you to quit it because of all of the legalistics and legalities and liabilities in the world of which I'm acutely aware. But I'm saying that maybe you could get yourself out of that situation, out of toxic grief, out of depression, out of anxiety, by doing a course, a protocol of investment in yourself on a day-to-day basis. I get up, I take a certain supplement in the cap. I make sure I walk outside. I get sunlight on the body, even today, already. I get my body moving. I keep my environment clean and just mop the floor and cleaned everything up. Water the plants. I love plants. Absolutely love plants. If you can't grow plants and you've got a brown thumb, then you really don't know how to grow children. And if you can't take care of plants and children, you really should never even attempt to do anything with dogs, okay? You see Pablo on fire over there? To have an overlord, a government to parent you and to tell you what you're going to do about a virus is unsavory to some of us. It's unsavory because I've already seen what's been done to the people, the food, the land, the animals, including especially the dogs that you all bring into your homes. And I feel for these dogs. They're itching so bad. They're dropping fur all over the place. They're almost going insane in their own bodies because they're living in a home that sounds like, when you walk by the outside door, like you've got a permanent arcade. My son and I, Zawa and I, used to live a block up the road, right up the hill on Cliff Street in Santa Cruz, California, from the beach and boardwalk. So we'd walk down and push the stroller past the boardwalk and over to the beach, and then down, and sometimes we'd go all the way down to the monarch butterfly grove. And there we would lie on our backs on the wood slatted walkway near all the huge eucalyptus trees. And we would watch all the monarch butterflies come out when the sun would rise, high in the sky. And I would say, learn the butterfly. Learn who the butterfly is and what the butterfly is. And learn about its metamorphosis and why it likes the eucalyptus trees, why it lives so close to the ocean, and why it takes such a long migration during the climate changes. So when you have a young child and you've done the stories in nature, the redwoods and the monarch butterfly groves, and the beautiful divas and sprites and the fairies that roam around the land that the Santa Cruz Waldorf School, where I worked for a year and he went to school, roamed around on the ground. Redwood trees. The ocean mist would roll in and give a magnificent fog every night. And I would hold him and we'd go to sleep till he was almost 10 years old. And he said, I think I can have my own space. Okay, great. But moving into an area anywhere in the world today where people have become homogenized, just like your gallon of milk, it's homogenized. All of the facets of the parent, like you have a parent, you have a mother or a father, the parent, the system, the plantation system, the overlord, the parent, Big Daddy, have been so inoculated into the mind that food is the fried chicken. It's the little tiny dish of the nastiest, crappiest macaroni and cheese. It's a box of Donutos. It's Fruity Pebbles. It's Little Debbie snacks. It's a Starbucks cream cheese Danish, which was one of my son's favorite. I couldn't go into a Starbucks and look at the cream cheese Danish, which he had me order so many times. It finally got to be that the parent, the real natural parent of my child, was dismissed throughout the teenage years. We think of teenage acne as normal. It's not normal. We think of premenopausal and menopausal women experiencing hot flashes. It's just a part of menopause. It's not a part of menopause. No, it's not. It's a sign that you are imbalanced. Rings around my eyes, like I still have, are a sign that I'm still imbalanced. I'm imbalanced. Damn straight, I'm imbalanced. Okay. When my hair started graying, okay, right now it's dreadlocked and there's a big one right here, so it kind of puffs up and makes me look like a little bit of a Tyrannosaurus or something. But that's why I wear hats a lot. Premature gray is a sign. Celebrate it if you want to, but it's a sign. There is no singular testing, no kind of testing that I'm aware of in the world besides the blood spot testing that will surpass the information that you will achieve, glean, understand, and love. See what I mean? It's like DARPA gnat. There's one gnat in the whole house. And when I start live streaming, it comes out of nowhere. It's kind of weird. Okay. Hair tissue testing is extremely valuable. For years and years and years, your doctors who study almost nothing about finding the best supplements, the best foods, They know nothing about geomancy, the land that the food is grown on. They know nothing about the minerals. You know nothing even when you buy food at the natural food store, Whole Foods Cooperative or whatever it is. I went out and I took my son to the Fisher Merritt farm. The first month we got to Minnesota, July of 2002, we were at the Fisher Merritt farm in Renshaw, Minnesota, about a half an hour from our house, my mother's house at that time. We toured the root cellar. We toured the grounds. We listened to what they shared with us about their farm and how they do things and how they grow the food. Now, why is this so important today? Because if you listen to the propaganda and you pay attention to the numbers of doctors who did come out and honestly speak with you and say, things aren't right. You know, this isn't what you think it is. And you don't back us up. Because I can speak with people and enjoy a phone call. And they can say, well, you know, my daughter's supposed to take her PCOS medicine. I go, her PCOS medicine? What is her PCOS medicine? Well, metformin. I said, that's a PCOS medication. So what we're going to do then is we're going to take over the pancreas and the insulin secretion so that then she won't make cysts on her ovaries. But if she is massively overweight and her thyroid has been deficient probably since she was born, and she's had all of these attacks, if you will, then we're going to have millions of women with many cysts on their ovaries. So we, the people, one world family, we have a duty, a due diligence. This little gnat is going to get it. We have ultimate responsibility to ensure that we not only create a better place, a more perfect union, we the people need to create a more perfect union with the air, the water, the soil, which I mentioned to you in a previous live stream, is the basis for your immune system. The soil. The soil is replenishing and composting, if you will, bacteriums that then you would be eating in foods that were completely healing foods, not foods that were robbing you. How do you know the foods are robbing you? The same way I know that most of your children are so full of lead today because your parents and grandparents in the 70s and on and on and on. You go to the gas pump, right? You put gas in your car. You hardly even notice, well, there's probably 3 pumps to choose, and you've just kind of habitually gotten used to going to that one. But if you read it the next time you go, it says unleaded. Unleaded. We don't even think about these things anymore. So people were driving around automobiles with leaded gasoline for a very long time that has polluted our environment. People painted with lead, especially white paint. Okay. People used hair dyes, which contained lead, black and dark brown. Artists, painters, mechanics, farmers, agricultural people, now our children, my child had markedly shown that he was mobilizing and excreting very elevated lead. But when I first tissue tested him, the first couple of times, even December of 2017, the lead was way, way low, very little, very hardly noticeable. So when he began to detox in the 3 months of sobriety, his body's going, woo, thank you. Take a load off of me. That's a lot of stress. This is why people go into endocrinopathy. The endocrine, the hormone system gets torn up. You see, my son and hundreds of thousands of others, I was just looking at a beautiful young woman who was 25. And her mother was crying out in the post in the group that I'm in on Facebook. I wish that I could have never said anything with a sharp tongue. I wish that I could have always been present with you. I wish that I could have always savored every moment in a way that I would have never known like I know today. We go through these feelings. But I get back up and I soldier up and I think to myself, how do I make sure this isn't also going to happen to so many other people? My son was a victim for 4 years by a doctor who's not even going to be held accountable enough to produce a prescription history. So you can prescribe medications, right, left, here, there, all the time, that sicken, hijack, addict, and further cause problems in our people and get away with it. Because the people no longer remember, due to the absolute repression, holding them down away from their abilities to procure safe food, air, and soils. Safe care, not medical industrial care. They never should have even developed cysts on their ovaries. They never should have developed and gone 15, 20, 30, 40, 60, 70 years with the people that I see and work with that have had thyroid deficiency from the time they were born, or who knows. There's no way to know except that by looking at their past medical history and seeing their breasts were removed, their uterus was removed and hysterectomized. They have fibromyalgia. They've got pain. They've got obesity. They've got a pear-shaped body. Their skin is rough. Their feet are rough. Their hair starts to turn into something that looks like hay, what little of it they have. They start to develop spots on the body because the liver is congested. White and brown spots on the skin, usually up the forearms, on the chest. You can see it when they live stream. It's right up here on the chest, especially when they stand out in the sun. You can see the little white spots on the skin. It's liver congestion. You can notice the earlobes, okay? You can notice the eyes, like I pointed out about my own. You can look at the tongue. You can look at the hair and see what's going on with the hair. You need to learn how to make a complete assessment. I'm looking to make sure we don't go over 30 minutes. So not all of us really understands that a certain parent, and it is a parent, it's clear, it's very clear to see for me at 59, with all the researching I've done, has stepped in and has violated life. And but for that violation, my son would not be gone today at the age of 24. He would still be here living his life, and we would be a family. Do you notice that the young people are sleeping all the time? That they're on and off the drugs and the alcohol and smoking and vaping and all the cannabis that has to happen every single night, all the rehabs that they have to go through? It's because they're hurting. And yet I still hear people talking like I might have still been talking had I not had some of the experiences I have about drug addicts. You want to end up being just a drug addict? And I'll never forget the conversation, and I've got a picture on my wall over here of my son sitting in the back of our expedition taking a drive across country, and he was settling in for a little snooze. And when he woke up and he was with his friend on one of these trips across country, he said, "Look at the bums over there. Oh my God." And there was a man who obviously had a heroin problem, to me, sitting on the side of the street. And I said, but for the grace of God or Jah or Buddha or whatever you want to call it, but for the grace of Jah go I. Meaning that bum is somebody's baby who also got hijacked along the road. And it can be any one of us. In fact, eventually it can be all of us. But you don't see it coming. Just like you don't see the solstice coming, and you don't see the ships, and you don't see the little things and the lies that you've been told about the sun and the moon and the planets and the universe, and you keep repeating the systems, programs, and language, and thereby doing this, you keep it in motion, you keep it powerful. So I'm going to end it for today. I've got some really super exciting stuff coming up. I mean, really exciting. And so I hope that you will like it and give me, show me that you like, or you would like some other topics to be talked about. When it comes to healing people, there is a way to completely reverse PCOS most of the time. There is a way to completely reverse autoimmune most of the time, but you do have to kind of buckle up and work a program, which is what I'm doing for myself right now. Okay. So I have to do an honest assessment, make sure I don't step on a dog. Am I overweight? Do I have energy? How do I sleep at night? What's my body temperature? What's my blood pressure? Is the gray going away? What do my fingernails look like? How is my skin? Is it glowing and radiant? How do my teeth feel, right? You need to make an overall assessment. That means sometimes we look in the toilet. What does my urine look like when I first wake up in the first part of the day? How are my bowel movements? Do I move my food along easily? Look at my hair tissue test. Am I converting nutrients from the food that I'm buying and eating? Am I converting those nutrients properly into what is ultimately the fuse box of my car, the spark plugs, the fuse box of my vehicle? Or my vehicle is simply just not going to work. Okay. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a great day. I'm going to be going on a fabulous trip, and I'm going to be coming back and sharing some great details with you. Thank you.